All right, she's all yours.
Welcome, everyone, to the Con and Bob podcast. I am Bob. That is Con.
How you doing?
Con, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing pretty good, buddy.
Wrestling. Wrestling this week.
Right?
Slowly but surely getting better.
I think they're
WWE?
listening to the Con and Bob podcast. A lot of our ideas are coming out.
It is.
Yeah, it's pretty good, you know? Yeah.
It wasn't great still, but we had some good moments, definitely. Some funny moments. Off the top, I do want to say one thing that I noticed that I don't understand. Ricochet is still wearing his NXT shirt.
Was he? I missed that
I don't know
part.
if you noticed that. Yeah, on the back of his shirt, you know how it says NXT, like right at the top?
Yeah.
It still says that. And I'm like, get this guy a WWE shirt.
Let's just make him actual merch. You know, let's get him on the main roster, giving him full
get him main
merch.
roster merch. Come on.
Like, how cheap are you? I mean,
funny
instead of giving him merch, they gave him the weird pew sound and got rid of his little lights, you know, all the Ricochet sounds, because it's funny, right? It's funny. Yeah. But yeah, like you said, man, wasn't bad this week, but it wasn't also great.
No, it's big wrestling news though, obviously this week. A couple things. One, Ric Flair in the hospital right now.
Yeah, shoot. That's
hopefully.
Yeah. I hope he pulls
hopefully
through.
He's all right.
Yeah, I heard
Ashley.
on before we get to Ashley, I did just hear that like their family made some sort of statement that his surgery is being pushed to next week or something like that. So obviously it's still probably a serious situation, you know, a 70-year-old man, right? But it doesn't seem like it was as serious as first reported, which is good. Now, I don't know. I could just be speaking out of rumors, right? I'm not there. But hopefully he's doing well.
Yeah. And then obviously Ashley passing away, Ashley Massaro.
Yeah.
Formerly of
sad.
WWE. Still no real details, I don't think.
Not
about
that I saw.
But,
I was just looking it up a couple hours ago, and absolutely nothing right now on the case. There was something about like her best friend out there who made like a statement, but that was proven to be like a actual fake account. So just be sure, you know, people are looking over their sources so that you don't get any false information. Yeah.
But yeah, some sad things coming later in the week, and then some big news, good news. Earlier in the week, though, brighten up is AEW announced their TV deal.
Yes, sir. Yes,
TNT.
sir. Oh man, how excited are you for that?
I am so excited. I'm ecstatic. I'm excited. I'm anxious. I'm ready for it. I don't want it wait. I just want it to happen now.
Yeah.
But we're
like
still gonna have to wait a little bit of time.
Yeah, we're like a week and a bit away from not even a week and a bit, a week and 1 day away from Double or Nothing, which I'm excited for. I think that is where we're gonna get the true feel of that there is a second company now. You know, it's we gotta wait still till whatever it is, September, October, I'm not sure, before we get the actual weekly television product. But you know, a pay-per-view, May 25th, under the AEW logo. I'm just so excited for that, man. I think it's going to be great.
I know. I'm excited as a whole. Like you mentioned it the other day when just like messaging about it, the aspect of this is likely going to be this generation's WCW versus WWE.
Big time.
In the aspect especially that we have TV deals now. Like I think there was a little bit of it with TNA, WWE, but never like as competitive as what WCW and WWE had.
Yeah, nowhere near.
I don't know that,
but
I don't know necessarily that AEW will be as competitive either, but it'll definitely be on the same par as TNA was when it was at its highest.
When we start talking about how TNA did on Spike TV, they pulled in 1.5 million viewers on a weekly basis. WWE's pulling just shy under 2. And when you start hearing those numbers, it doesn't seem unfathomable that, they could go in there and swoop in, pull over the 2 million mark, and actually beat WWE in the ratings war. Like, that seems like a real thing that could happen.
For sure, especially off the top, I think, too. Off the top, it can get pretty hot, where a lot of people will start floating over to it.
Yep. It's new as well, right? So everybody wants to see the new kid on the block, but still, it's going in there with a lot of money. It's got name value with Chris Jericho. Kenny Omega, draws in the international crowd.
All those guys.
Cody draws in the WWE crowd, which it's crazy enough to say.
The Bucks will definitely draw in like the indie American crowd for sure.
So you got to draw from everywhere, and then you've also got the older generation with, you know, people on staff. I'm blanking on the names right now from DX there. I don't know why. Billy Gunn, there we go. And also, like, so he's on staff. Would not surprised to see him in a ring from time to time. And also, you know, you got Goldust there, the older generation's familiar with that name. So you've got a lot of demographics covered, not to mention, you know, up-and-coming stars like MJF, and the list goes on, right? So they've got the makings, man, to hit this thing running and strong out of the gate.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think Double or Nothing is going to be great. There's a lot of speculation in the aspect of Moxley joining them, but I don't know that it'll be quite yet. But it would be
just
massive.
let's talk about that real quick, because I know it's pure speculation, but holy crap, how amazing would that be for AEW? Like, I've said it to you before, I truly believe that if he were to swap brands and swap over to AEW, that'd be kind of like the Scott Hall or the Kevin Nash, you know, one of those major superstars leaving WWE for WCW back in the day. That's what it would be like.
Yeah, exactly. It would be huge. And also, like, it's a guy that in WWE, a lot of fans thought like they never fully reached what they could have with him.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, they always thought, like, initially too, like, it felt like when he first came in, it's like, oh, this guy's gonna be huge, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Shield was starting, and it kind of felt like, oh, this guy's gonna be a massive deal. And then it seems like Seth and Roman both elevated so much further, and then Dean, they just got, like, he did elevate but then dropped, and like there was just a loss at moments.
You know where the momentum was lost was that Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast when he came back, won the Money in the Bank, cashed in on the same night, then he was the WWE champion. And this should have been the time for Dean Ambrose, where we saw him rise all the way to the top and become a household name, more so than he is. And it just didn't really happen, you know. We got a decent WWE title reign out of him, but the matches were good, but that's about it. No real memorable moments from the title reign. I mean, I don't have any if you do. But I believe the moment where WWE...
No, I think he was solid. I think it was, like, exciting, but...
I just believe the moment that WWE lost complete faith as Dean Ambrose as a top guy was the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast, where he just kind of didn't feel like a champion, you know? The way he was presenting himself, the short snippet answers. I'm not sure if you listened to that podcast on the WWE Network a few years ago, but
no.
It was very weird. Stone Cold Steve Austin was trying to get more out of Dean Ambrose, and Dean seemed to completely reject the idea that what he wasn't doing or what he's doing is not good enough. Like, you can't. He felt very comfortable staying where he was and wasn't ready to push the boundaries. Now, I don't know if that's because him trying to push boundaries, he was always rejected to push them or not, right? Because I could totally see WWE saying to Dean Ambrose many, many times, like, no, that idea doesn't work. Like, we're not doing that. Push it to the side. And then all of a sudden he becomes Jon Moxley once he goes to the Indies, right? That idea's probably been brewing around in his head forever, and WWE just didn't let him do it. So it's kind of a combination of both. WWE keeping him down and not letting him exceed, kind of keeping him in that babyface role and not really rolling with him when he became a heel. I think those were the issues with Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, I think I'm excited, like, for him on the Indies, just to see what happens. Like, whether he's face or heel, he's gonna kill. Like, it's gonna be great.
I agree.
I think he's gonna have a little bit more freedom to do what he thinks is right, and therefore more comfortable with his character. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But the big thing too that I noticed was, I saw a bunch of stuff coming through that Triple H was frustrated with the fact that Vince isn't giving up a lot of power.
Yeah, creative control, not giving it up.
And I think that once AEW does start, he's going to have to.
He's going to have to, or the WWE will lose and they will fall second. They could fall third, you know? They could fall fourth. Nothing lasts forever. If they don't change their ways, they absolutely will fall.
Yeah, I think that if Triple H takes over, it will be very big for them. I think it'll help them with this battle against AEW, definitely, and it'll help them stay at the top. Whether or not they're like substantially above AEW, that's neither here nor there. It's just like, that's not what we're talking about. What I'm talking about is the fact that they will still be above it, but it's just like, it could just be here, or it could be here. Like, but Triple H is the key to staying on. Taking over. Triple H, like, controlling. Because the game has changed, the fans have changed, the world of wrestling has changed, that there's something different about it now. We don't care about the big, like, drama of olden days wrestling anymore. We care more about the athleticism and storytelling in a shoot aspect, almost, to an extent. We still care about the drama, obviously, but we're not as big on like the Hulk Hogan-esque guys, right? Like the big superhero guy, yada yada yada. We want to see more like relatable things and just like fights, essentially. We've talked about it, how it's kind of going in that shoot direction more. And the, like, even just the simple storytelling of Cody versus Dustin being like old versus new, and it's brothers and they love each other and they care about each other, but it's just the aspect of the old generation versus the new generation, and that type of conflict is always so good now.
It's always prevalent, like, you know, in our society, right? Like the old versus new. It's just a very relatable thing. Everybody can relate to it, and like we've said before, the simpler storylines are sometimes the best.
Enough about AEW. Back from some technical difficulties there, but we'll stop about AEW because that's still to come, and obviously we're going to be live for Double or Nothing next Saturday, the 25th, for it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But that's then. Right now, let's talk about wrestling this week and what actually happened. What did you like from Raw? Like, what? Like, there were some good things.
You know what? I'm going to say something controversial. I liked the inclusion of the wild card this week. I actually liked it. You know why? It made the Raw product, even though that it was the similar stars that we've seen on Raw, it added in a level of unpredictability. I was looking forward the entire night. Okay, how many how many SmackDown superstars have come over already? Like, what number are we sitting at? And same thing on SmackDown. I don't know. It was just something extra to kind of watch this week. I didn't mind the wild card rule and the inclusion of the superstars. Yeah.
I did find that as well on SmackDown when I was watching. I found when on SmackDown, like late in the episode, being like, who's the final wild card?
Yeah.
Because there was still a wild card spot, right? So I was like, well, who's the last one? Who's the last one? And then it ended up being Sammy, but we'll get to that. But yeah, I found that too. Like the wild card was, I knew that it was going to bring some sort of intrigue. It's just the way that they introduced it initially was
so confusing and I mean
complicated and confusing.
Yeah. It just kind of the way they introduced it, like you said, sucked. I think the idea, though, like you and me said this during the podcast, on paper it's a good idea. You know, it's a good idea to try to shake your stars up and move them around, and it seems pretty evident that there's going to be every star kind of available for the wild card rule. Like, you know, they can kind of swap brands willy-nilly with it. Like, I still don't know the rules for sure, but that's what it kind of seemed like this week. And it also, another little tiny detail, I could be wrong with this, but do tag teams count as one wild card per two? Like, you know, I mean, two guys as a tag team, is that one wild card, or is that?
I think it's two people.
Is it two?
Because on SmackDown there was Miz, both Usos, and Sammy.
And Ricochet, right? Ricochet popped up on SmackDown?
Oh, Ricochet popped up too.
Yeah, so that was where kind of the question lied.
No, he wasn't. Ricochet wasn't on SmackDown.
Was he not? Was that on Raw? I thought that was on SmackDown.
Did he come?
Hang on one sec. I'm flipping through the results real quick right here.
He did come out on SmackDown for something. During the
Fatal Four-Way.
Fatal Four-Way.
Yeah. Because after the match, Ricochet appeared, sent who was it? Sent Andrade to the ground off the top of the ladder, right?
Yeah.
And then grabbed the briefcase. Yeah. That's what happened. So yeah, that was 5, right? So I don't know if they're counting tag teams.
So maybe a tag team counts as 2?
Yeah.
Or is like the 2 of them count as 1?
Something like that.
I'm not sure. Maybe they changed it to 5 and they just didn't say anything.
You know what? It's next week. The brand split's just going to be dropped, so it doesn't matter at this point.
It's going to be everybody's a wild card.
Yeah, seriously.
Do what you want.
But honestly, I will say this much though: the wild card aspect to the show is making me a touch more intrigued than I was in previous weeks. Just knowing that at any given moment, a person who you're not supposed to see could wind up on the show is kind of a cool little thing.
Mm-hmm. I think it was good though. We saw Roman again on Raw from SmackDown as one of the wild cards. Elias as well came over.
Let me ask you, do you like the pairing of basically Roman Reigns and The Miz kind of being side by side? It's different. It's very different.
I don't mind it, because I feel like it's building toward potentially a Shane McMahon versus Roman Reigns feud of some sort. The way that it's the aspect of that authority figure versus Roman. Yep. But that kind of feud. So I don't mind it as it's a good transition, because you're finishing up Miz and Shane's feud and you're giving a storyline of how Roman could potentially feud with Shane, or just have that conflict with Shane at all times, right? Doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be matches, but it could just be the aspect of having conflict with him.
Yeah, conflict is never bad. We've said this all the time. Plant seeds absolutely everywhere that you can inside of wrestling, because you can always go back and, water that seed and turn it into a nice little plant, right? Yeah,
exactly.
I think that the pairing is intriguing for sure, because The Miz has a way of bringing everybody else to their best on the microphone. When he's in there, everybody else seems to be able to hold their own, and he's continued that onto his babyface run, right? Whoever he's in there with, he's made Shane McMahon look awesome on the microphone, and in this promo, he also worked alongside Roman Reigns as 2 baby faces playing off each other, and I really like the dynamic. He has just this way, I don't know what it is, on the microphone, he has a way to bring attention to the segment, and that has been since day one.
Yeah.
He really is the most must-see WWE performer.
Yeah, Miz, I'll say it every time. Miz is my favorite. Of today, he's the best because of his character work. I'm a big character guy, whether it's a character like Miz or it's a character that's a little more ridiculous, like Velveteen type thing.
Yeah.
Right? But even Velveteen, has gotten more, just he's another guy that's just great on the mic. And it's a lot more of just kind of I'm better than you type thing. And it's that shoot aspect that we talked about. And I love those types of guys, and they do great jobs. And Miz is the best of it. He's been consistently great, whether he's a heel, a face, and especially in the last handful of years. So I've really enjoyed everything that he does, no matter what. I have that bad habit of, even in a bad movie, if I like the actor, I'll be like, the movie wasn't terrible. It wasn't good, but the actor did good. It's the same thing with Miz. I'm like, a feud could be terrible, and I'd be like, yeah, but Miz did well. Yeah. Because he does every time. He does well, and usually the feuds that he has aren't terrible because he carries it so well.
I absolutely agree, man.
So I do enjoy the pairing just because, it's good to have your top babyface in the aspect of Roman Reigns, who you want to be your biggest babyface, and then between him and Seth, and then Miz, who's just one of the most beloved people in the ring by the universe. Anytime you put them together, it's going to make the fans want to support the other guy more.
Yes, I absolutely
especially agree. When Miz is so good on the mic, like you said, right?
Yep, I absolutely agree. That's a great analogy there of the Miz. But I am kind of curious on your thoughts with Elias and Bobby Lashley and Shane McMahon, this mini faction that we got going on. The pairing of Elias and Shane made, I guess, a tiny bit of sense because of Vince McMahon announcing Elias, and then the fact that Shane is the son of Vince, so there's a bit of an alliance there. Okay, I can accept that, fine. But Bobby Lashley, you're coming off this little program where you were with Lio Rush, you were involved in the IC title with Finn Balor. You're kind of treading water. We thought you were moving upwards. We thought you were starting to get your own character, and then you got this other stuff going on with Lio Rush, essentially dropped him from TV, and now Bobby Lashley is left treading water again, not knowing where to go. Is this the right move for Lashley, or is this a giant step back?
Yeah, I think he's just that big, powerful guy that is, and he's like capable to be in the mid-upper card. So I think that's why he's just getting used as well. They don't want to continuously use the Drew McIntyres. They don't want to continuously use other guys like that, the Baron Corbins.
But so why not Baron Corbin? When you think about that, why not Baron Corbin? Why?
I know.
I get Corbin he's in the ladder.
The main reason I think is because he's in the Money in the Bank.
But again, that's where you got to look at the storylines and say, okay, Bobby Lashley's not going to have a match with Roman Reigns. Well, I mean, you might have the matches on Raw or whatever, right? So
yeah.
So I get that you got to Bobby Lashley, Roman Reigns, Bobby Lashley, Miz, whatever. But Baron Corbin, you can tie in the fact that Shane McMahon is one of his guys is in Money in the Bank. Don't be afraid to cross storylines and intertwine storylines with each other, right? We saw that down in NXT with the Undisputed Era. How many storylines where they crossed over in, and it made for good TV. So I don't know why the idea of, say, a Baron Corbin being in Bobby Lashley's place and then continuing to push Bobby Lashley as a bit of a more dominant solo act, make him the silent badass. It's very, very clear he can't speak on the microphone. Right? That has been an issue for him. Unless you're going to pair him with Stokely Hathaway from down in NXT, push him as a dominant monster on his own.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I think that the major issue is because they planned to have Corbin in in action later for the money and all that, then it just they definitely could have used him, especially would have made sense because he is always trying to find the upper hand. And that's what I was going to say I like about what Elias is doing right now is the aspect that he's teaming up with the Authority. He's well, I can get better opportunity by being on Shane's side. Mm-hmm. So he's Elias has been great the last couple weeks, I think, as well.
Just to interject right here, my friend.
Still...
did Shane McMahon and Baron Corbin, did they have some issues when he was the general manager, now that I'm thinking back to it? Because Shane was a babyface back then. Is that maybe a little plot hole I just oversighted there? If that were to have happened?
I don't think that they necessarily had some serious issue.
Okay.
I think there was never real issue with it.
Yeah, because if I'm remembering correctly, Stephanie McMahon introduced Baron Corbin as the constable, and then he overtook for Kurt Angle as the general manager. And I just know throughout that entire time, Shane McMahon was in the authority power on SmackDown, so I can't remember if they had issues or not. And if they did have issues, then, maybe that was a little bit of a reason why, he wasn't the third piece in that group.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking back to that.
Yeah. I don't think there was any real issues with it. I think it was just kind of maybe here or there little things. I think more issues were Stephanie and Baron than Shane and Baron ever. So
okay, that's fair.
But yeah, that's how we open up. Mojo Rawley.
Yeah, I was about to say that his new character is lame. His new character's lame. What's different about him? He's got face paint. What?
Yeah.
All that build.
That he beat Cruz for Apollo Crews.
Yeah, and what's Cruz? A SmackDown superstar, right? So he's one of the wild cards coming over. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So you just wasted one of your wild card spots. I get it; it's a fresh matchup, but why Cruz? You're building him up on SmackDown.
Yeah,
why?
And it's weird too because correct me if I'm wrong, but Mojo's new finisher, or at least how he finished Cruz in that, was just an Alabama Slam?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, sit out Alabama Slam. Yep.
It was, yeah, like, I don't know.
Like, don't get me wrong, the Alabama Slam is a cool move, but when you've got Drew McIntyre busting out the reverse Alabama Slam, which looks 10 times more effective, right, where their face goes planting into the mat, his finishing move doesn't look all that impactful.
Yeah, and I get the concept of it, like, if you're smacking back and you smack your head, yeah, but I just, like, I don't understand. They could have done something else with him, and I don't see this push being anything great.
It could have been great is the problem.
I don't know if there is a push.
I think the issue, unfortunately, with Bray Wyatt, or not Bray Wyatt, with Mojo Rawley's character here is that Bray Wyatt's character came around the same time. And the backstage vignettes of him being a little bit of a different character, a little crazy, looking into the mirror, right? I feel like those got dropped when Bray Wyatt started to come back around. And as a result, any momentum that was around for Mojo Rawley just kind of got flushed down the toilet. And then they're like, oh yeah, we've got this guy we've been building up for 2 months now. Let's throw him out on TV in a meaningless match, in the second match of the evening, where fans have already spent, 40 minutes watching through commercial breaks and not Baron Corbin, but, and Bobby Lashley and Roman Reigns. The fans are a little exhausted. What do they throw out there? A new superstar they're trying to get over. Come on, right? Card placement. Yeah. It's just such a tiny little detail that they overlook. The first thing that fans when they come back from a commercial break, they want to be drawn into the TV. And a character which has been stop and start pushed for the last little bit is not a way to present the character. I don't know if I'm making sense with that, but it's, in my opinion, I think that was not the right way to present him. It really wasn't.
No, I think that they wasted Apollo Crews as the wild card spot there. I think that it sucks for Crews too, because you and I both said that when he had that match against Kurt Angle, we really hoped and thought that maybe it was going to be the turning point where he starts to build up a little bit and then gets maybe a mid-card push or something, right? And then Mojo, like between Mojo and Crews, I think that Crews is definitely a bigger star.
Yeah, I think that's safe to say. I would say Mojo is the thing is he's friends with Gronk, right? And so he has that mainstream attractability that Vince must just be drooling over. But if he's drooling over it, why haven't they done anything with it? Like, he's got charisma. Don't get me wrong. Mojo Rawley has charisma oozing out of him, and he's solid in the ring. You can put 2 and 2 together, and you can actually make a decent star.
Yeah, and they just don't. But you did mention Bray Wyatt, and Firefly Funhouse this week.
Let's just talk about it now. Holy crap.
Awesome.
Wow.
It was so good.
It's exactly what we wanted, right? I think this is, and more. I think this is the turn that we needed to happen. It needed to dive down into a creepier territory. In the clown mask, the mix between Pennywise from It and God knows what else, he combined them, and now we've got a very intriguing character now named Yowie Wowie. I don't know if that's going to be his actual name. But,
I am excited. I was talking to someone about it the other day, the aspect of we're hoping, and it got me thinking that I'm hoping that he does his like promos and stuff for the most part as like Yowie Wowie in the sweater vest and the like khakis and all corny and cheesy and Firefly Funhousey. And then when it comes time to go in the ring, that other side, it's almost like Demon Finn.
Yeah.
How there's this whole other character within this one character.
I was thinking that too, my friend. That would be a great alter ego for Bray Wyatt. It really would.
Yeah. So I'm excited though for it, especially now I get to see what he looks like as it. We were just talking about it last week. I like the look, how much darker it is than his Yowie Wowie Mr. Firefly Funhouse, let me in my fireflies, yada yada yada, like essentially Mr. Rogers in the Neighborhood-esque type character. And then his dark side, his dark secret, so good. I forever will love Bray, and I'm excited to see this continue and see what happens.
He is very much one of the most creative people I have ever seen in terms of how he has developed his promos, how he develops his characters, the delivery of every single one of his lines, and the fact that every word means something, and whether it's in a twisted way or through his own, his own speech. He makes every word mean something. And he also showed this on Twitter, where it was like, over the past 8 years, there has been I think it was something like 10 lines throughout all of his promos that didn't fit in. And when you read line from start to finish, so line 1 through line 10 from all of these promos, it made its own promo and it had its own meaning. And he pointed this out on Twitter, and we're like, wow, that's genius right there. When your work doesn't come to fruition until 8-10 years later, that's genius, That really is.
Yeah, and it's funny because I started off the pod today saying the way of wrestling, we're not about these characters anymore, these fictional characters.
See, that's why I kind of rolled my head to it. Yeah.
But certain guys, the thing though is because not as many guys can do it and sell it well anymore, like a Bray Wyatt, Matt Hardy, it's right. It's done right, and it gets the fans so excited because it reminds us of the old days of the Undertakers or the ridiculous fictional type characters like that, the Canes, where we're like, oh yeah, wrestling can be so much fun because it's so ridiculous and dark. It's so dark, and that's the great thing.
It really can be
right?
It is all form of entertainment. It really is. It's there's nothing like it out there. It's one of a kind. It's why we love it, I'm pretty sure, because you never know what you're gonna get. We went from on the same show where Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, and Lacey Evans are sitting around a table holding up titles, making fun of each, you know what I mean? Go from entertainment in that form to a guy wearing a clown mask with 2 dolls who he has called this Firefly funhouse. That's the range of entertainment we get when we're watching WWE. And there's nothing like it, man.
Again, technical difficulties. Sorry.
It's crazy, right,
we're
man?
Back.
How is it every
it's
week?
Ridiculous.
What?
Man, internet is so unreliable. It's brutal.
You would think it's 2019, right? Come on.
Yeah.
Get with the times.
But yeah, nonetheless, I'm so excited for Bray Wyatt. I'm really excited for whenever he gets back in the ring. Couple other points from Raw. The contract signing, Becky Lynch. The double contract signing, Charlotte Flair, Lacey Evans, Becky Lynch.
Lacey Evans looked like a star.
Yeah, shockingly, a contract signing turned out to be a brawl.
Who would have guessed that?
Who saw that coming? Yeah, it was good. They all got their moment on the mic. They all sounded great. Lacey sounded great and looked great. Lacey and Charlotte, it ended with them each holding up their respective titles, with Becky down. So a big, you and I are both old school wrestling fans in the aspect that if you're the one standing tall on the go home show,
you're not winning that title.
The match.
Nope.
No. So
yeah.
And that's not always the case, but we just think I don't think that either of them will win. But both of them definitely could, and I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, so
either of them
Becky no belts is a real thing that could happen, especially with how the ratings have declined. I don't think WWE would straight up blame, Becky Lynch or Seth Rollins, 2 of the people that are just the most over superstars on the roster, but they are, their main champs, especially Becky Lynch being a double women's champ after the main event of WrestleMania. I'm sure things weren't super peachy backstage with how that got botched. I can't imagine Vince being overly impressed with the main event of WrestleMania being botched like that, but it is what it is. I don't think they're gonna take both titles off her. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody cashes in on her. She's going through 2 matches on the night of Money in the Bank. that seems like a recipe for somebody to cash in that night.
Yeah, it does seem like someone very well could. Didn't Alexa Bliss cash in last year on the night?
On Nia, or was it on Ronda?
It was on Nia.
Nia, okay.
It was on Nia in the Nia Ronda match.
Correct, yes. And that's how Alexa walked out of there. Yes, that's right. Man,
And
Nia was
Alexa
a champ a
lost
year
to
ago.
Ronda.
That was gross. All right.
Ricochet, we talked about him at the top of the show, and his beautiful NXT shirt on SmackDown, but he lost his match against Baron Corbin.
I think it's the right call, believe it or not.
Yeah, Baron, like I said, I think it was last week's pod, Baron seems like a legitimate dude that could contend for the world title.
Mm-hmm.
Likely he won't win it, but if he got the next title match as like the transition title match in between now and SummerSlam against Seth Rollins, I would be very fine with that, and that match would be very good, I think.
I agree. Like Baron Corbin showed in this match, he works amazingly well with a smaller individual, one where he gets to dictate not gets to dictate the pace of the match, but gets to hit his power moves, but work at a quicker rate. When he's in there against another big man, his matches aren't all that entertaining because it goes rest hold, jump up, power move, rest hold, jump up, power move, rest hold, big spot, rest hold, pinfall attempt. It's just a wash and repeat. But when he's in there against smaller individuals, he has that power game, he has the size game, and he sells really well, to high-flying individuals. He knows how to catch people coming over the top rope. He blocks suicide dives really well. And his impact moves look so much stronger against a smaller individual like Ricochet, who when their body hits the mat, they basically implode. It looks really good. I like his matches when he's in there with a smaller individual. I think him and Seth Rollins are going to do great.
I think he's likely the next candidate to go up against Seth. Assuming Seth
they would do
retains.
great. They would do great if they fought that. I said that he would do great.
I'm assuming that that's the next matchup. It would be a great match. And honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I wouldn't even mind if Ricochet goes into a feud against AJ or just like a match against AJ, because that match would just be amazing.
God.
If they
so don't do that to me, Bob, right now. No,
right?
I want that match. Right? That's so good.
The Fatal 4-Way women's match of the 4 Raw competitors in the women's Money in the Bank. Alexa lost her luggage, so Nikki replaced her.
Actually, also Alexa Bliss officially out of Money in the Bank. She has been pulled from the event. So 2 likely scenarios to replace her: Nikki Cross or Sasha Banks. Those are the 2. Yeah.
So obviously I assume, did it say why she was pulled?
No, didn't. Not that I read, but I can look at what you're.
That she's had a nagging injury or something, and that's why they've had all this weird booking the last couple weeks. But that's also why they kind of went to Nikki being in the Fatal 4-Way this week, which Nikki Cross won. Which again, like you said, the main likely option is Nikki Cross to replace her.
Concussion.
Yeah,
yikes!
I figured as much.
Yikes!
Yeah, once you get one,
they just
know.
It sucks for Bliss because she is so good at her job. She's so good at what she does. And it just sucks that she has had this many injuries already in her young career. Yeah. You gotta wonder, when do you ask yourself, is your body not cut out for this incredibly tough business? Is your body just a little, and no slight to Alexa Bliss, she's amazing at her job, but is this a Paige situation where she could step back into a manager role and still
managerial or something like
and
that,
still
or
excel to a crazy level?
If they went to an all-women show at some point and they had a commentary team of Renee and Beth Phoenix, Alexa would be the perfect Corey Graves.
She would be. You're absolutely
right. For a
right.
women's show, like she's like that. I think she would be amazing for that too. Mm-hmm. So something along those lines would be great if she has to leave the sport, like if she has to leave the in-ring aspect, but she could also excel at a managerial position, mm-hmm. like a Zelina Vega. She could, or
why
Paige,
not? You know what?
Excel.
This is actually about to be a really dumb thing considering the news of last week. I was about to say, why not pair her with Buddy Murphy? But that would be a mistake now.
That would be so funny.
God.
They're like, we're going to put you up with this Buddy guy.
With Buddy, yeah. And you guys got to act like you're in a relationship. Vince, we were engaged. We broke off our engagement. Doesn't matter to me. Money.
Engaged again. Yeah, so that sucks for her and like sucks because she's amazing. But I mean, it's interesting to me because now both of last year's winners are not in their respective Money in the Bank matches. So I'm excited because it means that we get a new Money in the Bank guaranteed, right? And obviously we weren't likely going to see a back-to-back. We never will. But it's like it's like going to the Stanley Cup championship, right? Mm-hmm. And being like, this year being like, I don't really want Vegas or Washington to make it, just to know that someone new is going to be there.
Yes, I agree.
It's the same thing, right? Mm-hmm. Like you don't always want, unless you're a fan of that sport, like that team in that sport, or in this case, that wrestler, mm-hmm. a massive fan of them, then you're like, well, I just want to see someone new. If you're just a fan of the sport as a whole, you're like, I just want to see someone new because it helps excel others.
Exactly.
Right. So I'm excited. I don't know who the replacement will be.
My
guess,
like
Nikki Cross.
Yeah, Nikki Cross. I'm gonna say 95% likely to be Nikki Cross. That whole lost luggage thing, I think they're gonna lean into that for a while now. Like Alexa Bliss just losing stuff or misplacing, or I think they're gonna keep her on TV in that sense. But it's going to be weird comedy things. I don't know where it could lead, but yeah, Nikki Cross most likely replacement for Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, and then I don't see Nikki winning it all. I don't really know who. I feel like it's going to be a SmackDown person, but it could be someone on Raw. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I just like out of those four, Nikki, Natty, Naomi, and Dana Brooke. I
don't see
Naomi
Dana.
And Natty could be Naomi and Natty could be cool, but Natty feels like the Chris Jericho of the women's division in this Money in the Bank terms. Like she's been in all four now, mm-hmm. apparently. Like she said that on Raw in her little promo package.
Yeah, no, she's an experienced Money in the Bank veteran. That's for sure. Yeah.
So, but she has never won it. So I'm like, oh, this is Chris Jericho, but the women's Chris Jericho. Yeah. Like amazing in the ring, always puts on good matches, whatnot, always great. And in every single Money in the Bank ladder match, but never wins it.
Never. like, just not allowed to win. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just trying to remember who else is on from the SmackDown side in the
Ember.
Women's. Yeah, Ember.
Carmella.
Mandy Rose and. Why am I blanking on this?
Oh, shite.
Well, this is going to be a great podcast for the listeners. I bet you guys are yelling at us right now.
Oh, wow. Why am I...
Who the heck is in that match?
Ember, Mella, Mandy, and it's another heel. Who is the heel?
Oh, my God. Smack... how do I just go to WWE.com? There we go. We'll find.
I think it's another heel. Is there another heel?
Well, we are talking about
a boot.
Yeah, a boot. Not the Kabaki or Kabaki, whatever their name is. The Warriors there.
Careful,
yeah,
careful
I
where
know.
You put that B in that word.
Seriously, like, geez, they couldn't make things easier for us, could they? I legit don't know. I can't find it, man.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Oh my God! Money?
Hey everyone, just if you know, just say in the chat right now. No.
Oh, this is frustrating.
Yeah, but regardless, I think Ember's a likely candidate. Mella could win again because she's been kind of leaning towards heel.
Bailey. It's Bailey.
Poor
How did we
Bailey.
forget Bailey? Oh, I'm so sorry, Bailey. Oh, that's not good on us. That's really not good on us. If that doesn't say how far she's fallen from Grace. Oh,
Poor Bailey. Poor Bailey. Love her, but sorry.
Mysterio versus Cesaro. How about that? Was that good?
I like the match. I like that Cesaro's still using the Cesaro, the bar entrance.
Yep.
I liked it. That's still a thing because it's not one of those things where he's necessarily just dropped his tag team. He's still coming out doing the bar hand motion. It's still like the bar
continuity, right?
Music and stuff like that. I like it because he didn't break up with his partner. Sheamus got hurt, and it's public knowledge. And they're like, well, essentially him doing that is saying, as soon as Sheamus is good to go and he's back, we're still a team.
Exactly.
And we're going to dominate this tag team division. And it's making, honestly, seeing that littlest thing, it's the little things, the littlest thing like that makes me be like, oh shit. When Sheamus comes back, I hope that Sheamus and Cesaro just destroy the tag team division when he gets back and win the titles and are just dominant as all hell because it shows their commitment to each other as a team. And I'm like, that's awesome.
Honestly, here's the really amazing part when you think about this. WWE is continuing Cesaro in singles matches. He doesn't have to win. He doesn't have to lose every single one, but he is in a lot of matches. And this is the thing that got Cesaro over before, was just allowing him to go out there and do whatever he wants. The Swiss 1-9, the neutralizer, the uppercuts, everything that Cesaro brings to the table. They're just saying, all right, go out there, put some name value back on your name, and then when Sheamus comes back, oh boy, you guys are going to be hot as hell. Yeah. It's good. It's good to see 100%. That match. That match was match of the week for me, by the way, just so you know. I loved Rey Mysterio versus Cesaro. Loved it.
Yeah. I liked it a lot. I like the little callback to, well, not necessarily a callback, but for fans that have been fans that long, the aspect of, are you even sure that he's your son?
Yeah, love that.
I'm like, oh, Eddie and Ray. Oh, Eddie and Ray with the whole Dominic and I'm your poppy. And
Dom's
so
totally
good.
Turning on Ray, isn't she? Or isn't he?
I don't know. It would be amazing.
What if he aligns? What if he aligns with Joe though? What if Joe takes him under his wing inside the WWE?
They're both be wild.
They could play off the fact that you don't know how to you don't know how to train me. Look how small you are. This guy, he's a champion. I want to learn from the bet. That's simple storyline.
Yeah,
and then especially considering even Ray brought up the fact that he's been training. He has been working with him, and he's been training in the ring. We all know at this point, at least 99% sure, that Dom is signed to a WWE deal, that he is signed to some sort of wrestler's deal, and it won't be long before we see him start wrestling. I think that he's going to be introduced to the main roster before we know it.
Really?
Yep. Through.
I don't know that he's quite going to be in matches.
That's the thing. We don't know though, and that's why I think it could be really good if he has been, secretly training with Rey freaking Mysterio for who knows how long. He's probably pretty okay. And if he's been working, with developmental down at the Performance Center, maybe in secret, just hasn't been on NXT, hasn't been doing the NXT loops, he might be a damn fine wrestler. I mean, it's in his genes, that's for sure.
That's true. Ray's been wrestling since he was 13. Yeah. So to just use age as an issue, it doesn't really mean much, right? No. So he very well could be all right. And I mean, Jeff Hardy started wrestling for the WWE at 16.
Exactly. Lied about his age, but he did. He
lied about his age so that he could come onto TV deals and just get jobbed, but still he was in the match. He was in the ring. I'm intrigued to see what happens with this storyline. I do like just the fact that they're using Cesaro, like you said, and just the aspect that he is great. He's awesome. His mic work since pairing with Sheamus as well has gotten so much better, I think, as well.
The only thing,
cocky heelish stuff.
The only thing that is his downfall is, remember when he went teeth first into the corner turnbuckle and they went up into his skull and all that. He still has a major lisp from that, unfortunately. I mean, but
that's not his fault.
It's
right?
not his fault.
That's just one of those things where you're like, well, shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked it. And then main event, Sami Zayn.
I thought this was fun.
Member of the men's Money in the Bank match.
Absolutely the right call, because we were saying that Braun doesn't need to be in it. Just last week? Yeah, this is the right call. He is going to cost either Baron Corbin, Drew McIntyre, or Sami Zayn the Money in the Bank.
Or all three. It could be all three.
Or all three. Like, here's the thing that I would not be surprised to see, and I would not be surprised if this is how it goes down. Drew McIntyre gets taken out by Braun Strowman at the start. Baron Corbin gets taken out. Sami Zayn gets taken out. And then somewhere along the line, Braun Strowman gets hit with a Claymore kick from McIntyre, and that sets him up to climb the to get the briefcase. I could see that being like how the match ends, and then you immediately move into a Braun Strowman versus Drew McIntyre feud after that.
Yeah.
But that's just me guessing.
Drew should win, but
at this point, Braun
could, honestly though, they could very well just make that feud for the Universal title match at SummerSlam. Like, the culminating match of that feud, be like, all right, the winner of this gets to fight Seth Rollins.
Yeah, they could do that. I would not be surprised if they tried to do something where like the Money in the Bank briefcase is on the line in a match, between Strowman and McIntyre, if that's where they went with this. But obviously keep it on freaking McIntyre, in every way possible. Keep it on McIntyre if you're going to give it. I think the only two legitimate people who should be winning Money in the Bank this year is Drew McIntyre and Andrade. I don't think anybody else.
Really?
I don't think anybody else should be touching that thing this year. I think those are the
Ali
two stars.
would be all right.
The thing is with Ali is
would be all right to just hold it. Though.
I think you need Ali to get that close and have it taken away from him again, and lean into that storyline. The fact that
that's fair.
He couldn't quite get it, or like he was injured for Elimination Chamber. He was that close to getting a shot. Then he came this close to getting a shot again, and it was taken away from him. And you build the fan support that way.
Yeah, I don't think that Andrade should win it strictly because of what happened on SmackDown in that Fatal 4-Way match. The fact that Andrade pinned Finn to win it. You're set for Andrade versus Finn for the Intercontinental title.
You certainly are, no doubt about that.
And I think Andrade needs to be a mid-card champion before he's
But let me ask you this. Why not test him out as the IC champion and the Money in the Bank holder?
And he very well could be.
Because that sounds...
It would be great.
Apparently Vince McMahon is very high on him. All he wanted him to do is take English classes so that he can learn to speak on his own and rely less and less on Zelina Vega. When I hear that, I think they are thinking money with him. They're thinking push to the top, a feud with Finn Balor while he had the Money in the Bank briefcase so that it kind of takes the focus off the briefcase and puts it on the title. I think that would be really, really hot, and might be a fun feud to watch. And we also got a tease of that match beforehand, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think that will be good.
Who would you like to see win Money in the Bank, though?
I wouldn't mind Ali, like I said. Andrade would be great. Who's this Raw side? Sammy would be interesting.
I could see Sammy winning it, too.
Sammy would be very interesting. Because imagine Braun coming out and screwing over Drew and Baron and going to screw over Sammy, but Sammy's the little weasel that he is, just goes and then climbs up and snatches it. Mm-hmm. And then imagine an even crazier thing is, and it would just be going back to old storylines, but imagine Kevin Owens beats Kofi Kingston.
Okay.
And then Sammy cashes in on Kevin.
All right. Yeah.
It would be the biggest thing because of the very first. It would be such a dick move.
Yeah.
But with the Money in the Bank, it would essentially be what happened in NXT, but in reverse, the aspect that Sammy won, KO came out and beat him down, right?
Yeah, interesting.
And then, but now with the Money in the Bank, and you're now I'm the champion, right?
Yeah. The only problem with that is that I would love to just see I'm going to backtrack on that actually for a second. We have so many babyface champions right now.
Yes.
And we like all of them, like Seth Rollins, like Kofi Kingston, like Becky Lynch, and like Finn Balor. We want to root for these guys, but unfortunately,
you forgot Daniel Bryan and Rowan, but it's cool.
Yeah, but
they're the planet's champions.
The planet's champion. I guess they are the biggest babyface in a way. But it's just that idea. Shoot, I lost my train of thought. What was I literally just saying?
Sammy and
KO.
Sammy,
thank you. So Sammy and KO, that idea that you are always linked to each other, right? Whether you go through NXT, whether it was on the indies, that they're always linked to each other and drawn to each other. Well, we saw that reintroduced again on SmackDown after the injury. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens working together. And when you say that idea of Kevin Owens picking up the title over a beloved babyface like Kofi Kingston, that makes you wonder, does Sami Zayn then, just prove that he was playing KO the entire time and truly become the more dastardly heel? Or do we let that play out for a little bit longer? But I don't know. Just to go back to what I was saying, now that I remember what I was saying, is just that with all those babyface champions, we're kind of in a position right now where you don't have any people that you can hate who are on top. And you don't have that babyface chasing the championship, which people usually get so excited for.
Yeah.
And we want to maybe find a way to reintroduce that babyface chase. And as much as I don't want to see Kofi Kingston lose the championship, I think he's the one out of the 3 current champions who could pull off a babyface chase like he did already, right? I think he could do it again. I don't want to see him lose the championship right now. I think I'd like to see him hold on to it for a little bit longer. But if he's got to chase the championship again, maybe that would be a good time.
Yeah. And it could even be a situation like a Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, right?
Yeah.
Cashing in. The aspect of if he's losing it at Money in the Bank, maybe he doesn't necessarily lose it in a one-on-one match. Maybe it's like the match is going on, and then whoever wins the men's Money in the Bank cashes in during the match to try to, and like essentially turns it into a triple threat, but when they're already both all beat up, right?
Yeah.
Like Seth Rollins did. So now it's kind of like, well, he didn't just lose and then like lost it to Kevin Owens. He lost it because they're all of a sudden it became a triple threat match, and the third guy was maybe it's Andrade.
Yeah.
Right? Like maybe Ali turns heel.
You know what, man? Like, no, but
I don't see him turning heel.
I don't right now because he's just got so much fanfare. But like again, I think Ali could pull off a heel if he really wanted to. That's the thing. Yeah. All these guys are just so good for performance-wise, and they're just such good at their job. They're so good at their job that they just could pull anything off, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. But let's talk a little more about SmackDown, man. So, yes, we started off with Roman Reigns and Elias again, so that was what it was, and Shane McMahon.
But it led to a decent little thing, right? Like Roman and Miz and Usos came out, and then they've got
reuniting the Roman Empire or the Bloodline, whatever it was they called themselves.
Yeah, they kept calling them the Bloodline. They kept saying, like the commentary team did. And then the Miz in there led to a 4-on-3 match between Shane McMahon in the ring on SmackDown, which you don't see very often, actually wrestling. He actually picked up the pinfall over one of the Usos.
Right call, though.
Him, Elias, him, Elias, and then the Planet's champions, DB and Rowan.
Love that still. So good.
Yeah, teaming up against Roman Reigns and the Usos, the Bloodline, and Miz was banned from ringside and it wasn't allowed to come out. And the way that Shane did it, I did like a lot, because the aspect of, if Miz comes out, he doesn't get his match against me, because he knows how much Miz wants to be in that steel cage with Shane.
Exactly.
Because he just wants to beat him down. So he's like, if he comes out, he doesn't get his match with me. So then the match ended. Shane picked up the win. Miz comes out and beats him down. I thought that overall match and that promo initially, I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. I thought Elias on the mic sounded good. The moments where he was like, what did he say? The one moment he's like, yeah, I'm going to prove to you like what the McMahons see in me, and they did come to conclusion that WWE does stand for
walk with the lights.
And how just the crowd is still so over with that guy. It's amazing. DB and Rowan, great.
Just so good. So
and
good.
The Usos coming out to help out, also great. We got 3 of our 4/5 wild cards in the first.
Yep, the first segment. It established what the night was going to go, or how the night was going to go. Like, we've said this before, we like overarching storylines, and we kind of like, knowing what's going to go on and who's going to be around. And so giving us that right off the start, made sense.
Yeah, and then we got that Fatal 4-Way match that we're talking about.
Yes.
That Andrade picked up the pinfall victory over Finn. And this was my match of the week. I loved it. I love the way that they used the ladders, and it was just good old wrestling, and the storylines of like Randy Orton hitting RKO, like getting the opportunity to, but not hitting the RKO this time on Andrade. And the fact that Andrade picked up the win over Finn, I thought that's great planting of seeds to be like, well, what's going to happen next? Probably an intercontinental feud between those two. Mm-hmm. I just enjoyed it overall. Andrade is amazing.
So good.
Finn's great. Ali is great.
Can I just
Randy's
ask you something?
Amazing.
How did I ever think that Andrade was not going to be a megastar? Like, when I was watching him before he became NXT champion, I just thought there was something missing with this guy.
Yeah.
He just put it together, and man, he has proven me wrong. So quick. He's proven me so wrong. Like, I always thought that, he was a decent in-ring performer, but for a while I thought he was just going to be the stepping stone for other people in NXT. That's all I thought he was going to be. And
no, he's amazing.
I thought, he might be like another CJ Parker, some guy down in NXT always putting over the new people coming in, kind of like Cassius Ohno right now. Mm-hmm. But no, he rose above that, and he has become one of my favorites inside the whole WWE.
Yeah. I love that man.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I love that man. I love all those performers in that match. All great for individual reasons, and I think I'm excited to see those guys, see what happens moving forward. And I'm really excited, hoping that we get a Finn versus Andrade feud, because it would be amazing.
Mm-hmm. It really would be.
Yeah. And we got that 4-on-3 match, like we said. Miz came out after the match and beat down, and Shane got away again, right?
Yep.
Just
still sliming away.
Yeah.
You know what? The way that they're building towards that steel cage match is actually really good. They've got the idea that Roman Reigns might be mad at Shane at any given moment, keeping Roman outside of the cage. And also the fact that Shane keeps running away from the Miz. Now he can't run. I think they built that up perfectly. It's arguably WWE's best feud right now.
Oh, it's great. Yeah. I am excited for it to be done.
Yep, me too.
Because I want Miz to do something else. But I also love the inclusion of Daniel Bryan and Miz, right? Mm-hmm. The fact that they showed it and they talked about it, the aspect of, what did he say? There's a couple people that hate you, Miz, and blah, 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 blah.
And I like that they brought that forward, because Daniel Bryan and Miz do not get along. And also another little subcontext to this whole alliance here. Shane and Daniel Bryan used to be general manager and commissioner side by side. They got along for a good portion. They were tag team partners at WrestleMania. Continuing on their storyline together. Of course Daniel Bryan's going to help Shane. And they've both taken a turn to the dark side, so they don't have anything keeping them apart. That makes perfect sense. I
enjoyed it. Yep. I thought SmackDown was good this week. I thought it was solid. And then we got the Kabuki.
Let me read this. Let me read this correctly.
The Kabuki? I think it's the Kabuki Warriors.
The Kabuki Warriors, yes.
Yeah, the Kabuki Warriors.
The Kabuki Express.
No.
The Kabuki Experience, whatever it's called. Yeah. Oh my God. All right. First thoughts on the name.
I'm shocked that Vince wasn't like the Japanese Experience. You're like, what?
Yeah, seriously. It probably came out, and then probably somebody backstage was like, you know what, dude, you can't be saying that. But here's something hilarious, man. The Kabuki Warriors is actually, want to read the Wikipedia definition for Kabuki Warriors?
Sure.
is a 2001 fighting game released for the Xbox shortly after the release of the console. It was purchased by Crave Entertainment, yada yada yada. The game has received unfavorable reviews according to the Video Game Review. It is considered one of the worst video games of all time. Complaints were directed towards a lack of variety between characters, environments, dreadful graphics, and a very limited moveset, and only utilizing one button for attacks. Does that not sound like how he's positioned Asuka since day one? Like, seriously, is that not a rib on Asuka?
Gosh.
Very limited moveset. Like, seriously, that yeah, Kabuki Warriors.
Yeah, I like the team. I just don't know how I feel about the name. Paige, solid.
Yeah.
They beat Mandy and Sonya. Yeah, I mean, they're good. They're dominant.
I will say this much. I like
Japanese the way wrestler women that just
I like the way they're setting up the women's tag team division. You know, at least on SmackDown Live, they're setting it up. They've got the Iconics on commentary. They had a good setup to Fire and Desire versus the Kabuki Warriors from the previous week. And you know what? It makes sense that they're moving forward. They're at least having feuds within the tag division, not just creating random tag teams, you know, not putting Carmella with Ember Moon or whatever it was. They're actually having good tag team battles. It makes sense, you know? This match was fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I will say my favorite part about this match, and I know you don't get to listen to the commentary often, Iconics on commentary were amazing. They're so good. I can't remember exactly, but there was moments where they're just such dicks.
Yeah.
Like, they're just so mean and so great, and they're just like so condescending at times and funny. And yeah, I enjoyed them on commentary a lot.
Yeah, I didn't really get to listen to them too much, but
no, I thought they were great.
Yeah.
Those were the two notes that I had at the top of the page outside of like what actually happened. Two like key notes. I was like Ricochet with his NXT shirt, because why? Get the guy a WWE merch. And then two, Iconics on commentary, because they were just hilarious and great. And I enjoyed it.
What is Billy Kay's catchphrase? You've got to be kidding me, or whatever. That's the worst Australian accent ever, but did she say that on commentary? That comes to mind?
I think she said something
Because she has been trying to get that thing over for a while now, and it's slowly catching on, and I love it. It's just the way that she says it. Her delivery's perfect.
Yeah, no, she is great. Like, we talk about Peyton Royce being great, and yes, I think Peyton's a better in-ring performer, but I think Billy's character is so good on the mic, and the aspect of her, like, she's such a great comedy role character. It's almost like how Breeze is so good in Breezango, like on the mic.
Yeah.
And it's so, or actually I think maybe the other way around, just how ridiculous Dango is
on the microphone.
How we were just when like some of the stuff that he'd say.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
yeah, where he goes,
you're like,
he's got his yeah, no, you want to go down here,
like some ridiculous things that he'd say in Breezango, and you're like, you're such an idiot, but like it's always like those little things are so memorable.
Yep.
I think that she's great at that comedy role character.
I agree.
And I love the Iconics, and they're great. And yeah, I think that they're probably going to get destroyed by the Kabuki Warriors at some point, but still, nonetheless.
Most likely. I'm very curious, though, that since you brought up Fandango, is he close to coming back anytime now? Like, I'm on his Wikipedia. As of March 2019, he is training for his return to active competition. So he's got to be
training. He's got to be coming back soon.
Yeah, he's got to be ready at any given moment. Why not? SmackDown could really use the Fashion Police right now. Honestly, but like, here's the thing: take the Fashion Police or whatever you want to call their tag team name, Breezango, and make them a little bit more serious. Obviously, keep the stuff that got them over, but they've got a ready-made feud with Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan right now with their whole shtick of the tag team division. Everybody takes it as a joke. You know, we're not a joke. The Usos were joking around. The Revival getting their back shaved, joking around. You know, whatever. That's their whole shtick. Why not put the Fashion Police up against them? Two very, very, very good in-ring wrestlers versus two very, very, very good in-ring wrestlers and one amazing in-ring wrestler in Daniel Bryan. That would work out really well.
I would be excited if that happens. But WWE, it's gonna be like he's back, and then they're gonna be like, and I was gonna say they're gonna be like he's back, and we're just gonna hang on to you for 6 months.
Yeah, and extend your time for injury.
Yeah, while we figure out what we want to do with you. Like, just let me in the ring, man. Like, just do this. It's simple. No, that's not it.
No. There's no money to be made there.
Main event.
Yep.
KO show. As we mentioned, Sami Zayn coming out as the 4th/5th wild card and beating up Kofi Kingston with Kevin Owens.
Yeah. I thought it was good.
Kofi did a good job in the ring. Like, well, come on out. Like, be the host. Like, you invite me on this show. Like, you want me here? I'm here. Like, come out. Like, do your job. And then just getting beat down.
Yep.
It builds him up as the babyface and as KO as the dastardly dickhead heel.
And also the ultimate opportunist type of heel that Edge was, in the form of this new wildcard rule is around. Why not bring my best friend over from Monday Night Raw to help me attack somebody? Like, that's just smart. That's logic. Oh, yeah. You know? Oh, we haven't seen all the wild cards yet tonight? You know what, man? Sammy, come on. Come on, Sammy. You know, let's beat him up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Question for you.
Yep.
Is AJ Styles going to turn heel soon? Do you think?
Would you be surprised if he takes the title off Seth Rollins and turns heel as a result? I wouldn't. Ratings are down. Seth Rollins, like we just said, there's a lot of babyface champions. I think AJ Styles turning the wrestling world on its heels, if you will, and by rejoining with the club, Gallows and Anderson, I think that needs to be a thing. The wildcard rule's in effect. There's no reason why we can't have this now. I think that needs to happen.
Yeah, I think I'm not going to be shocked if he turns heel in the next month, I'd say, for sure.
Yeah.
Who was your MVP of the week? Both of us said our matches of the week. You had Ray versus Cesaro. Mine was the Fatal 4-Way on SmackDown. Andrade against winning against Finn, Ali, and Randy.
Who's
your MVP?
I'm gonna go with my MVP. I think we might have the same one. I'm gonna go Miz, in the sense that, like I said with Roman Reigns, he had this ability to raise his mic level to his and make Roman Reigns sound as natural as I've ever heard him. You know, Roman hasn't felt that natural on the mic since, you know, he had to leave due to leukemia. That was the most real that he last sounded, and now Miz brought that realness out of him again. It's just something with the Miz, so that's why he's my MVP this week.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, I could go Miz. Part of me wants to choose Bray Wyatt strictly on the aspect that now we've, again, another great Firefly Funhouse, and now we see what he looks like.
Yeah.
I think that's my moment of the week, especially. But I'll go with Miz as my MVP because he was great on both SmackDown and Raw. He was great. On Raw, he was just great. The aspect of him with Roman, like you said, doing his promo with them. Yeah, Miz was and always is
one of the best. It's just kind of crazy when you think about it that 4 years ago, you know, when me and you were just starting to learn the fact that we each liked wrestling, the fact that we never ever would have envisioned Miz being a top babyface in the company. You know, like 4 years ago,
it's wild to think.
Like, he's been absolutely unreal. It wasn't until, like, you know, that Talking Smack promo that he became the Miz that we know, and then he gained respect from it. You know, he actually showed he was that damn good, and he's earned my respect, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll say it again, as much as I can, he's my favorite.
Yeah, you love him, buddy.
He's the best. He's the best for me today. He's great.
Where can they follow the best on Twitter?
I don't know what Mrs. Twitter is, but mine, Bob's Wrestling, BOBSRASSLIN, Bob's Wrestling, BOBSRASSLIN, right there.
Yeah, there you go, buddy. Boom. You can follow me at Conman167. That's CONMAN167. It's on the bottom of the screen as well, or you can head on down into the description below where you'll see Bob's link directly to his Twitter as well. But that is unfortunately all the time that we have here today for you guys. In regards to Money in the Bank this Sunday, Bob will not be joining me.
I will not be there. I'm sorry.
Game of Thrones.
My apologies, all. Yeah, it's one of those things.
Buddy, I do not blame you one bit. I know I'm just going to be spoiled. It's just how it's going to happen. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching the show. I've been Con.
I've been Bob.
And that was the Con and Bob podcast.